One time I tried to commit suicide and it didn't work. I know of people that have taken just a couple muscle relaxers and had something to drink and did not make it. So I took a bottle of muscle relaxers and liquor because I knew that would stop my heart, but it didn't. I had lost everything. I had a place. I gave that up, dealing with somebody. I gave that up. I had a job, lost that. When I had a car, ruined the car, lost my license. So it was just like, and then at the end I lost my freedom. It was in jail. I had a dream of my grandmother, and in the dream she said, remember who you are. I grew up in the church. My grandparents was pastors from Trinity Church of Holiness. It was a Pentecostal church, and they believed in the fasting, the praying, the reading the word, and that was the foundation of like us building our relationship with the Most High. So I was saved when I was younger, and then I went into the world when I was a teenager.
When you say you were saved, tell us about that whole experience. How old you were, what led up to it?
5.
Oh.
So, we had Tarrying services and so a lot of times it was a lot of children. Mm-hmm. So we ended up tarrying and people got filled with the Holy Ghost.
So when you say tarrying, can you say what that means for those who may not be familiar with that term?
Praying.
Okay.
Just staying on the altar until the Spirit came in and moved. So then that was the upbringing, and that's when things, I was born and raised in it, but I really knew I had an experience even though I was that young.
Okay. You want to say more about what that experience was like for you?
For me, it was as though it was like a blissful, peaceful type of feeling to have. All I know is I really just felt like I just loved the Most High. I just love Yeshua, which is Jesus. I love Yeshua, and I'm like, I just want to live for Him. It was just in me when I was a child. I was very serious. So that's that happening made me really want to live right.
Okay. Even as a young child?
Even as a young child, yes. Okay. But then I got older, things happened. I went over into the world and I got introduced to drinking. Okay. And then that ended up becoming a struggle. And
how did you, when you say you got introduced to drinking, how did you get introduced to drinking?
Being around friends.
Okay.
Friends, just where they were out, young teenagers, mm-hmm. hanging out, things of that nature. But fast forward after that, my grandmother, I was very close to her. She passed away when I was 17, and that I think that took another toll on me. After that, I ended up pregnant at 19 with my son, and that relationship was it was toxic. So I just ended up being in a series of toxic relationships, but the drinking progressively got worse as I got older.
When you say toxic relationships, are you able to say anything about what made them toxic? Like
abuse.
Okay. What type of abuse?
Physical. Mm-hmm. There was physical abuse. There was cheating.
So as much as you are comfortable, when did things go bad for the first relationship that you're talking about you were in where physical abuse took place? What was that first incident that you're like, wait a minute?
Oh, I feel nervous talking about this. There was physical abuse, but then in other relationships it was that as well. Mm. Like I said, as time went on, I would say my drinking increased. Mm-hmm. There would be times where I would stop and then I'd go back, and then my son is autistic, and with that, I think it made that progress more.
Okay, so when you say progress, so that we can understand how much the drinking progressed, how much do you say you were drinking when you felt like it was like really getting to be out of control?
I got to a point where it was drinking every day.
Okay.
That was where it got at my worst.
Okay.
So I had a couple of relationships, and they were toxic. They ended badly, and it took a toll on my mental, emotional. I was away from the church. I was not, I didn't do anything to uphold my salvation. So with the relationships, and the people that I was dealing with, we were in the world, so the drinking just became more excessive. And I just recognized how much I just started not caring about much else. And that went on for some years. I would say things progressively got worse around 27.
Okay.
And up until 35.
What were some of the things that were happening, if you're comfortable sharing?
Just the drinking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, drinking. Just not being responsible with a lot of things. Even just me being challenged in motherhood with an autistic child. My son's father passed away, so that help that was there, for my son, as far as him having his dad, that it just, I don't know, it just made me more withdrawn. Or no.
Okay. Were there people in your life who were trying to bring you back to going to church?
Yes, my mom, my family was always trying. My grandfather, he's still here. He, of course, always encouraged me.
And what would be your response when they tried to get you to come back to church?
At first they would try, but it got to a point where they just like, so you're gonna have to figure it out, or you're gonna have to learn on your own. He's gonna have to bring you back. So it would just, the questions would be like, well, like how much further do you need to go before you come back? But then it got to a point where I feel like hope was lost for myself, and I think others probably, it just was the thing that they could only do is pray.
Yeah. Did you find yourself in situations where you're like, looking back now, you're like, wow, God really kept me?
Oh, for sure. Well, what led me to changing my life around, I had been in many situations where I'm like, if the Most High was definitely protecting me, because I could have been dead. There's a couple times, one time I tried to commit suicide, and it didn't work. So I took, I had muscle relaxers, Norcos, and a fifth of liquor.
When you took all those things, how did you get through that situation? Because you're still here, so what happened that?
Well, I did write a letter to my mom, and then I took all those things, and I went to sleep, and I woke up.
But God.
I woke up, and that it made me realize just how much my life isn't my own. However, I was still not ready. But that really, it was like, okay, well, I don't have no say so in that. I was sleepy for about a week, but but I woke up. So that was something that really surprised me because I know of people that have taken just a couple muscle relaxers and had something to drink and did not make it. So I took a bottle of muscle relaxers and Norcos and liquor because I knew that would stop my heart, but it didn't. So I kept going. It got to a point like I just kind of started losing everything. I ended up in a car accident and I got a DUI. I had a concussion and I was on probation and I kept violating my probation. Probation was stressful, so that was just a way I coped. Like, oh, I'm stressed. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, I need to sleep. Oh, I need to be around these people. Everything was an excuse to drink. So I ended up on probation. The last time I violated, I went to jail. So I had lost everything. I had a place. I gave that up, dealing with somebody. I gave that up. I had a job, lost that. When I had a car, I ruined the car, lost my license. So it was just like, and then at the end, I lost my freedom.
For how long?
I was in there just 65 days.
Okay.
But it was just like, I knew I was going to have to go to jail. But before that, my mom was just like, you're going to have to go to rehab. And she had to take care of my son for me. But before I could even go to rehab, I ended up violating and I went to jail. And it was in jail I had a dream of my grandmother, and in the dream she said, remember who you are. And I was saying, well, I've done so many things, I'm nothing like who I was. And she said, remember the things I taught you, remember the conversations we had, remember who you are. And I'm like, but I've gone so far. And she said, all those things were just for you to have a testimony. So it was all a part of the plan. Remember who you are. And I woke up like very startled because I hadn't had dreams of her in so long, and none of anything was said. But I have been a dreamer, and most of my dreams during that time were like nightmarish. But this one, it was nothing else but that. And I knew that was like the first time I woke up and wrote it down. And then I was going to AA while I was in there, and a man told me about myself. He told us to write out our first step, so I wrote it out. And then he's like, it sounds very good. So good, so controlled. He was like, you have so much pride, so much ego. You think you can hold it together, but look at you. You are in jail. So how put together are you? He's like, you think you can get over just because you can present yourself as though you have control. But nothing's going to work out for you until you humble yourself. Basically. I was so upset with him. I'm like, who do he think he is talking to me that way? And then that night I had to dream about my grandmother, with my grandmother telling me that. And so the next day I just prayed. It was a very simple prayer. I said, you know what? I've done a terrible job trying to control my life. So I surrender for today. I'll try you for today. and I'll just see what happens. So each day, I woke up intentionally surrendering the day, and it was very stressful in there. Just not being able to go outside, just simple things, not being able to see the sun, breathe air, be around people that I love, just not having any freedom to do anything but just be there. It wasn't a long time. I just never saw myself ever there. But then I looked around and I was looking at the people there, and they got on my nerves real bad. And I'm like, but I'm no better than any of them because I'm with them. Once my mind started shifting, I'm like, don't let them get on your nerves. So I started I surrender. And every day I kept doing it. I was supposed to do 90 days, but then one of the COs, she was like, you don't need to be here anymore. And so she helped me get what I needed to get to submit to the judge, and I was out within like 4 days after I submitted that. And I was nervous though to get out, because at that point I hadn't been sober for that period of time for a long time, and I was just nervous about getting around the same people, doing the same things. I didn't know. I had gotten used to darkness, and light was uncomfortable for me. I got used to chaos, so peace was foreign. When I came out, I just secluded myself, and I went on a journey. Changed at 8. I just started, I was kind of exercising there, so I just kept on doing it. I made sure I was outside every day, and it just became very quiet, because in jail is very loud. So when I came out, everything became very quiet, and I did go back to church. I went up for prayer, and I just was able to cry out. It was just on my face, and I just been on that journey ever since. So yeah, I have fallen at times, but what I have done differently is I got right back up. So my grandmother said something before she died, like not long before she died. She asked me, like, why are you discouraged? Why are you discouraged? Why won't you be consistent in the faith? And I said, well, I don't want to disappoint God. And she said, because I was like, I keep falling. She said, it doesn't matter about the falling. It's just about getting up. She said, so keep getting up, and one day you'll get up and stay up. So I've been practicing getting up, whereas before I just stayed down. Mm-hmm. And I just think every time you get up, you get stronger. And I get the message now. That was 20-something years ago, but I get it. I'm getting more now than I did then. So I just been on this journey. It's been since 2018. Mm-hmm. So I've been just on this journey of cleaning up my life, and those were the big things, like alcohol, cigarettes, the men, the bad relationships, not being present as a mother. Those are like big things. Mm-hmm. But then as I go, more and more stuff is exposed. I call it the leaven. Mm. More and more of the leaven and the things, the sins that I've taken on that has corrupted my soul, mm-hmm. is exposed as I go on. And I realized one thing. So I practice feast days, And during the feast days, it just was unleavened bread. So the feast of unleavened bread, and it was just a matter of getting the leaven out, because the little leaven corrupts the whole lump. And then I beware of the leaven that's in the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. And so hypocrisy, I looked at hypocrisy, and I went down this whole like rabbit hole of words and meanings connected to hypocrisy. And then I was pointing fingers, and then I saw me. So every time I started pointing fingers, I started seeing myself like, well, this is because that happened because this, and if they wouldn't have done this, then I wouldn't have done that. And it was just like, no, you check your soul. And I started seeing my own hypocrisy. And then I looked at what breeds hypocrisy. And then, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment can cause you to, take on different things with deceit and things just so that you can appease others so that you don't get the rejection. So you hide parts of yourself and present a counterfeit version of you just so that you can avoid rejection and abandonment. And I'm like, that's not even righteous, at all. So why am I afraid of that? And then I went into understanding unbelief and how unbelief is sinful, because we're called to believe. If you are a believer, then you have faith. If you don't believe, if you don't have faith, and you have all this doubt in your heart, then he called them faithless and perverse. You faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I suffer you? Because they couldn't do the necessary thing of casting out the demon, his disciples, because they did not have the faith. And I'm like, look at what unbelief can block. Miracles wasn't performed in his hometown because of their unbelief. Like, you block your own blessing, you block your own salvation, you block all that because of your unbelief in him, but your belief in fear, your belief in lack. And so that was what I feel like I was in covenant with, this lack of faith in him, more belief in fear, my own idolatry, my pride, my lust, my ideas, my desires. And marriage was one of them. And I recognized here recently that marriage was an idol, like the desire for it. It wasn't that the desire for it is wrong, it's just that I wasn't being led by the Spirit. I was being told things, but I betrayed the truth to do what I wanted to do. So I entered into relationships that and did things like the abusing of things because I wasn't in the right relationship with the Most High. So I betrayed the truth for my lie, and that was my God. That was what I bowed to. That's what I worship. And because of that, I destroyed my own soul. So what is the profit of man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And it was like, I gained these highs or gained a man and lost my soul in the process. So I just recognized that I went away from that relationship that was there for me the whole time. I went away from truth, trying to find it where the lie was. I went away from love, trying to find it where God is not. So and it was just all from that position or that heart posture of lack. So it's this poverty mindset and this heart posture of poverty, of not enough, not feeling or believing I am enough, not believing the Most High is enough, Yeshua is enough, that love that I have there is enough, not believing it enough to be committed being that commitment there to not betray that. So I betrayed that for all those things, and I just recognized that it's a generational thing, yes, but I also understand that it is for me to heal that inside of me and not perpetuate it. It's for me to walk the walk of deliverance and sit in it, sit in the healing, and don't run from the pain, don't run from it, endure it, face all the fears and go through it with faith, because knowing on the other side of fear is love, and dying to these things, because on the other side of death is life. So it's just like going through those doors, and now because I've gone through all the things and I've hit my rock bottoms through all these years, I can reach back to my foundation, though. My foundation of truth, of goodness. And even though if everything wasn't done right, I have enough to build on what was given to me. So fasting, praying, and reading the word, that has been what has walked me through to get to where I am today. And even though arrival to me is death. It's on the other side of that. Like, that's the arrival. So I'm just going through life. I'm understanding that that's my journey to just mature. Mature and allow myself to be matured. And that means being willing to die. Being willing to die to myself. Being willing to die to those idols that I've erected in my life, in my mind, and die to pride, and just have a heart posture of humility, of service. What can I do for you? How can I serve you? And not what can you do for me? Because what he's done so much for me. You know what I mean? I'm living, I'm breathing today. I have the activities on my limbs. I'm in my right state of mind. I have my freedom. I'm in school again. You know what I mean? I have a job now. I have a place to stay. I have a roof over my head. I have, my son is with me now. I have a car. I have my license. Just all the things that I had lost before. And I thought I would never really have just even sanity, peace without drinking. Like I used to drink. Like it was so excessive. Like, to have peace without that, to have peace and not be married, like, I'm okay. I realized I was never in lack. I just believed that I was. So that was me coming back into the truth of things, like, and understanding that I thought I was in love. I was never in love because God was never in it. Most High was never in it. So how can it be love if he's not in it? If I'm not in love, if I'm not in him, I'm not in love. If I'm not in him, I'm not in truth. So therefore, if I'm not in him, I'm not in love, I'm not in truth. Therefore, I don't love myself. How can I love you? I can only love you at the level at which I love myself. So I can't love you beyond that. And if I'm not in love, I can't love you. I can lust for you. I can be afraid to not lose you. I can be addicted to you. Codependent on you. But attached. But that's just being bonded with familiar spirits that I've picked up along the way in the world. And just being able to break loose from that, and to be able to be delivered from that, and to be able to just walk free from that is that's enough.
Yes.
And to be, even with whatever struggles I may go through day to day, or even, the falls that I have fallen. It's like to understand, though, these are just lessons, so learn them. And I just feel like now I'm on this walk coming out of that, I'm just understanding that all of these things are lessons. And so I'm not losing. And even though there may be considered failures, I'm learning the lessons. So to me, that's gaining. That's the win. That is what he's doing for me. He's teaching me. And I'm at his feet learning what I need to learn so that I can grow and heal and mature and pass down salvation instead of destruction.
So it sounds like you have definitely learned quite a few lessons based on what you've been through. How has that translated into how you choose to be in relationships now? Because in the past you said that you tended to pick people who were not necessarily the best. You know, they were physically abusive and things like that.
Yeah.
In your new understanding,
Yes.
how would that translate into you selecting the next person to, be in a relationship with?
Well, I want to be guided. I mean, I'm guided. I've been guided. They were no's. I was disobedient to the no. So now just being obedient to the yes or the no.
Okay.
And not betraying the truth so just being in tune with the purpose of why I'm even with you to begin with. And I just want it to be the Most High doing it and not me. So just moving forward, that's what I am. That's how I'm looking at it. Otherwise, I am also okay with surrendering the whole thing. If I never am with anyone again, then, or if I'm never to be married, then be at peace with that too. So, whatever His will is for my life, being surrendered to His will and not mine.
Okay. What would you say to somebody who might be listening to this and they can relate to any part of your story? What would you say, what words of encouragement would you have for them?
Trust and obey the Most High. Trust and obey the Spirit. It's always there to lead you and guide you into all truth. It is there to protect your freedom, to protect your peace. So be obedient to that and never betray the truth of the Most High. And the truth is, you are enough, you have enough, He is enough, and He's provided enough. And that's the truth. So if you forget, always remember that.
Who is Jesus to you?
My Savior. Savior of my soul, Savior of my life.
Yes.
My healer, my redeemer, my truth teller, my guide, and now the head of my life. So that's who Yeshua is to me.
Any final words that you would like to share with those listening?
The encouragement is die to yourself. Like, do not be afraid to die to yourself, to humble yourself, because humility is the highest place to be.
Anything else you want to share?
Well, I'll just add that also the truth of faith. Like, it doesn't matter what situation you are in. I have learned that my greatest darkness was there to serve my greatest light. So as deep as I have gone into my suffering or my sin, I think it has really increased my experience of salvation. So whatever you're in, look at it as what this is teaching you, so that you can, once you get to the other side of salvation or peace or whatever it is that you're believing for, wanting, desiring from the Most High, that it will set you up to experience the greatest version of the good that you're enduring on the side of bad. So it's like, if you can, that can be the hope that what I am going through, like the scripture said, it was good for me that I was afflicted, that I may learn thy statutes. So your afflictions is there to teach you. So it's not about what is happening to me. Ask what is happening for me. What am I supposed to learn from this? And allow Most High to teach you what it is that He is trying to teach you, so that you can be a vessel unto honor, meet for His use, to help someone else go through what you're enduring right now. Because everything is not about you. It's about service to the next. So our lives here is not even about us, really. It's about generations to come. So when I pass down salvation, or I pass down my sin, it is a literal thing. So just having the faith that what you're going through is there to set you up for something greater, because it's not even just about you. It's about all the souls that you're connected to that can help free them. So, don't, when you doubt, remember to believe, and remember the truth of enough.
I really appreciate you coming to share your testimony. Thank you.
No problem.